Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Alchemy Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Cartwright, and I am here with one of my homies.
Dogs.
The brother.
Yes.
Talin Mortensen,
yes.
Divisional at Moxie Pest Control.
Yeah.
Talin, thanks for being on the show.
Pleasure to be here, man.
So we started working together one-on-one about a year ago.
Yep.
Right. We really got to know each other. You're also part of my elite mastermind, Alchemy Elite.
Yep.
And when I look at you and everything you've accomplished, the first thing I was thinking of is like, you are someone who has done an incredible job of fully taking advantage of the door-to-door opportunity.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Yeah.
I'm curious
So
to say that.
you've committed to the job. You've sold really well at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
You've recruited at a high level. You've embraced leaders and mentors on the personal development path. You've made great money. You've started to build a real estate portfolio. You become a great investor, and you've kind of really you've made friends. You become a better version of yourself. You got in great shape. You know, you've influenced people. You've been influenced and helped. You've then passed that mentorship down, and have started to put yourself in a financial situation to be expansive and abundant in the future.
Yeah.
So kind of why people do the job in general.
Yeah,
is hoping to get things that, you know, basically some of the benefits you're reaping. So you've really taken advantage of the door-to-door job. And I know that your future is just going to be more expansive.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your experience in the sales space. I don't even know how you got into the space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
okay.
Yeah. And I always like to hear that there's always, you know, in my experience, I've had a lot of people share that there's always been someone who in your early years of your career, whether you're in sales or not, has really influenced you.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious who that person was for you. So I'm curious, how did you get into the door-to-door space, and who was that person for you that really helped you, inspire you to grow and to expand?
Cool. So how I got in, it's like the typical, probably like most. I was in college, kind of just finished up or was transitioning out of my athletic career. And I was just tired of being broke. Like I was really, really broke. I was in a situation where I was back from my mission for about almost 2 years.
And where'd you serve?
Maryland. Baltimore.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. Mission changed my life. So
yeah. In what way?
It was interesting. I feel like I understood what the active role that Jesus Christ plays in people's lives. Right. So I think we talk openly about Christ and Jesus in Christianity and everything, but I got to see it change people's lives. But then I also saw it change mine. And so the cool part with that is whether you're a missionary or not, you get to experience that. So completely changed my life in that way. I'm back from my mission. I was at BYU throwing shot put, realized I was really, really poor, but I realized I didn't have any skills to like get out of the situation. Right. It was just like, I was like, okay, well, I'm me. The skill set I have right now is I can I was a shot putter. So I was like, I can throw a metal ball really far. I can lift a lot of weights. But as I looked like at the marketplace, I just realized they don't pay very much for.
Yeah, the marketplace doesn't pay for metal ball throwing.
No, and unless you're a world champion, even then, like the compensation's not necessarily lucrative.
Yeah. Well, and what is that? I mean, because I don't know much about shot put. Were you on scholarship?
I was, yeah.
BYU, right. And
so it was like a tuition. The track scholarship's different than football, right? That was back before like NIL stuff too. So, I was on a tuition scholarship.
So how did you find yourself getting into shot put?
That's a funny story, actually. So my dad, I was always a football guy, right? Football through and through. And then my dad was like, hey, you need to get faster. Because I was always a big kid, but I couldn't move very quick. I was like, okay, well, how do I do that? And he's like, well, the only way to get faster is to run more. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go do sprints on the track team, right? So in 8th grade, I joined the junior high track team. And I remember I went and I sprinted and we did 10 100-yard repeats. Easily the most miserable conditioning I'd ever taken place in. Like,
just gassed you.
Just terrible. And I remember it was funny too, Doug, because typically you do it on a track, right? Well, junior highs don't have tracks. So for some weird reason, our sprints coach, we didn't do them on grass, we did them on like the blacktop. So I was wearing basketball shoes, I was wearing hyper dunks, I was doing these 100-yard sprints on blacktop. I remember I got home that night and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm never doing that again.
That is something that I'm never going to do the rest of my life.
I was like, and I'll be fine. Everything I want in my life, I don't need to do that. But I remember my dad taught me this lesson about like when you start something, you finish. He's always taught me that. And that was, I remember that lesson consistently. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not about to go tell my dad I'm quitting the track team on day 2, right? So I remember I went to practice again, and they did like a group warm up, and then they'd split up into groups. And I remember there was another group that was like kind of the bigger dudes from the day before. So I was like, all right, I'll just go join those guys. So I go join them, and they start throwing, and I kind of just picked it up, and yeah, just went with it from there.
And was it kind of like this instant, like, oh, this is my thing?
Kind of, because it was like, I was a football guy. I liked lifting weights. So everything was like, like the grunt, the strength, the like power. So yeah, it kind of did fit, but it was kind of awkward at first, similar to sales. Like,
yeah, because if you're getting tuition support for throwing shot put at BYU,
yeah,
you're good.
We figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah. You're, it's not like they were just like giving you charity, you had to be an elite performer.
Yeah.
So what was that moment in high school when you're like, oh, my dad encouraged me, don't ever quit.
Yeah.
You stick it out. And then you actually, not only do you stick it out, but you actually excel at it. Sounds like, right? So was there a moment when you're like, oh, I'm actually really good at this?
It was actually my sophomore year of high school. I competed like the beginning of the year. I was definitely like middle of the pack. And by the time state came around, I had a really good like regional and state meet, and I ended up taking second at state. And I remember that was when I was like, oh dang, like, I played varsity football as a sophomore, but like we didn't compete in state at all. And then for track, I was like, dang, yeah, maybe this is my thing. And so then I pursued track and football, continued to get injured in football. So then I just pursued track full time my senior year and made it.
So the universe kind of nudged you under the end of the shot put.
Yeah, I guess you'd say that.
Yeah. And who were the coaches for you that really made an impact on you? For you to be an elite performer, right, you've got to have someone who's helping you with technique and mindset and clarity, right? Who was that coach for you?
Well, it's funny. I had different coaches during different times. So the first one actually was my older brother who had threw. And I remember like my freshman year, he gave me tips and pointers, which was like, that's special. Like your older brother you look up to as like superhero, right? And he's now like coaching you how to go throw. So that was my first one, was Trent and my brother. And then the next one was a combo. It was Coach Thompson at Salem Hills, who's my track coach. And then it was a coach actually up here in Harriman named, I don't actually know his name, I just know him as Coach B. And both of them just pushed me and really instilled a lot of belief in me, which was cool because I didn't know that track was going to be my gig. Then when I got to BYU, it was Coach Arrhenius. He's the head coach, or he's the track coach there, the throws coach. He did the same thing, push me, just get better, get stronger, definitely get stronger. He's from Sweden, so like we were lifting crazy weights all the time, sauna sessions, right? So, but those would be my, and then obviously like the overarching one was my dad, because he's just the lessons he taught just by example. Just show up on time, never quit, always give your best. Like those were principles he taught that just guided me through.
It seemed like he instilled that to you in a really young age.
Yeah. Well, and I've said this several times, but when all you see is like his example, because my dad's less of like a boisterous like command. He's very much like just lead by example. And so I just watched it my whole life. I watched him get up early and go work out. I watched him, treat my mom right. I watched him. I'd like to say he just did the right things. And that was the example that I had.
Sounds like he had a really high standard.
My dad?
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah. Actually, in a healthy way, I would say.
Yeah. One thing that's really clear, and I feel so blessed to have this podcast, right? And I speak with a lot of amazing people. And one pattern that's really clear is at one point in all these people, these successful people who have sat in that chair have in common is that at one point in their life, they had someone who believed in them more than they believed in themselves.
Yep.
Right. And for you, your dad and your coaches, and without them, you probably never make it up to BYU.
No, absolutely. Because I remember specifically like when my sophomore year, when it was going well, I remember Coach Thompson was like chirping in my ear. He's like, bro, like you're literally 6-7 feet away from like scholarship standard. And he would just kind of push me in that way. And then my dad's belief was always just like very early. He would just always tell me, he's like, dude, anything you set your mind to, you can do. And I don't know if he said that. I think he said that to my other siblings too. I don't know. Obviously, I never heard it. He just would do it one-on-one. But yeah, like just always, he was just like, yeah, anything you set your mind to, like you could do. And so I think the combo of those two kind of, just lit fire for my athletic career.
Yeah, and it seems like it also laid the foundation too for your sales career, right? So
without a doubt.
Here's Talin here, no skill set, just can throw a metal ball, needs some money, but has these mindset and these beliefs that I can accomplish anything that I want. I can be persistent and dedicated and master my craft. So it seems like sales was just a natural fit for you.
Yeah, well, it was like, how can I take this like competitive, just like desire that I have to go compete and work hard and get a result for my input? How can I take that and then go into the like business realm? And I used to think, I had buddies that did sales. I have one specific friend who's still in the industry. He was back from his mission. He just got back, tried to recruit me to it. And then I tried to recruit him away. Literally, like, and if he watches this, I hope he does, it'd make him laugh. But yeah, I literally tried to recruit him away from it. Thought it was a little bit of like kind of slimy, thought it was a scam, like all the typical, preconceived notions that are false. I had them. And then...
yeah, me too. I remember having those too.
Yeah, dude, desperation leads you to crazy things, right?
So what was your introduction to the space? Did you go right into pest control?
Right into pest control, yep. So my intro was, I had a really close friend who was my roommate. His name's Hayden Sharp. He was my roommate at the time, really close high school friend. And he's like, dude, I'm going to go do the sales thing. And I was like, dude, you're freaking crazy. I'm like, yeah, good luck. Like, have fun. And I remember I was at just this time of just like exploring in my mind what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go do something big and what you would say like expansive. I wanted to go do something impactful. And I knew that financially I wanted to go and be financially free eventually. And so I remember looking at every option besides door to door.
What were those options for you at the time?
It was, one of them was like a cleaning business, like a small janitorial cleaning. Another one was at that time, like e-commerce was just huge. It was like right around when COVID, or right after COVID shut down everything.
And it was booming.
Just massive.
Yeah.
So like everybody was like, hey, e-commerce this, e-commerce that. I also tried like flipping stuff on Facebook, like, buy it for cheaper.
Gary Vee style.
Totally.
Yeah.
Tried all that stuff. But just like none of it, I didn't gain any traction. But I realized there was two problems. There wasn't a specific skill set that I was like determined to go develop. And I lacked mentorship. Like those were the two things. And I think there's value in going and figuring stuff out on your own. The hard thing is when you do that in business is your mistakes are costly. So I got into the situation where none of them worked. And my roommate's like, dude, like if you ever want, I remember him saying this to me. He's like, if you ever want to be my business partner, like you got to go learn how to sell. I was like, all right, fine. So I met and I sat down with my VP now, Braden, and Hayden Sharp. And yeah, then they sold me on it. They straight up sold me on it.
What was the selling point for you?
Number one was the person I'd become. So like the skills I developed. And then number two, it was just very clear that the business success I wanted came on the other side of learning how to sell. And I didn't know what that even meant at the time. I thought I could talk to people from like the mission, which I could, but actually like persuading someone to do something.
Understanding the art.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when it's really in their best interest and you go and you help them see that. That's like an art and a skill set that I didn't have.
One thing that it sounds like they did really, really well, and when I have a lot of conversations with people who are trying to build a team and recruit, they think that you have to go convince somebody, right? And like, this is not going to go very well. If you think you have to convince someone to come work with you, you're just not ever going to grow. But one thing it sounds like your leaders did really, really well is they solved a major problem for you of learning a skill set. And then they showed you a more compelling future of the person you can become. And in my experience, the best leaders who recruit really well are those who inspire others to show them, hey, here is a more compelling future. You're at point A, you want to get to point B. This opportunity will provide you the path to point B, and who you become in the process is actually the reward for it. And those that focused on that are the ones who actually recruited at a high level.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
And so they got you.
They did, 100%. They got me.
Yeah.
And I remember all the fears in the world before the first summer.
What were your fears?
Am I going to do well? Am I going to make money? I don't talk about this often, but I had money in my account. It was literally student loaned money. Like literally, like I had the timelines I can't remember the exact timelines, but like I remember I had a semester or two where I had burned all my savings, but I still had to go for these next 2 semesters. And I was an athlete and I was in school. So I literally didn't have time to work hardly. And so I remember I got like a $9,000 loan, and the $9,000 hit my account, and that was literally what I had. And so when I drove out to market in Atlanta, had probably $1,800 or $2,000 left, but it was literally loaned money.
Not even your money.
No. So I just remember getting out there, and it just was the most back against the wall. Cause I'm like, dude, I don't have any money. I have it, but it's not mine. I have to pay this back eventually. And so I think regardless of the fears I had, it was I don't have a choice. I had to go figure out how to succeed.
Yeah. And did you see instant success? Were you kind of did you figure it out pretty quick, or what was your process of really getting over the learning curve?
The specifics, I remember my first week very clearly. I donutted my first 2 days. Nothing.
Zero.
100, 150 doors knocked, 100 one day, 150 the next. And
so you were working.
Oh yeah.
You were working.
Yeah. Well, because my manager at the time, one of my closest friends, Braden, was just dude, just go, the words, go get in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
I was all right, bet.
One of my favorite sales sayings is learn what to say, then say it all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wouldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I was doing, right? Day 3 came around, and I was it was Wednesday. Within the first hour, got my first deal. Thank heavens. Right? Relief. I was okay, this is real, right? This can happen. And then a couple hours later, I went and got my second deal. There was a problem with it though. He ended up getting the service, but he canceled later on in the summer. But I remember he was under the impression that mosquitoes were included. I didn't know if mosquitoes were included or not. So so that's just
you're yeah, sure.
Ignorance is, but I didn't know. I also didn't know that he was under that impression. Then he called into the office and had some issues, but so I remember, sold 2 deals that day. And then, then it was pretty consistent. I'd at least get someone to say yes. Then it was 2 a day, then 3.
And how are the other rookies in the office doing at that time?
One of my, a guy who's been with Moxie the same amount of time as me, Braxton, he sold pretty consistently well. So he was kind of you'd call it the pace setter or the rabbit rookie. All the other rookies sold relatively well. We had a pretty good office that year. I think we had a team of 15 or 16. I think the PRA was 170 accounts. So it was a pretty good team.
Yeah, so you guys were ripping.
Yeah, we were doing well. And our leader went and he was serviced 330 in rev. That was back in the small CV days, right? The little 500s or something. So, but yeah, that was a little bit about that. Yeah.
So you kind of, you sell pretty early on, start seeing success. I'm assuming your self-belief is just increasing like crazy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right. And then how did we finish the summer number 1?
Finished summer number 1 with a very typical August. Just August blues set in. Motivation went down, habits went down. I still went and knocked every day, but yeah, August was my worst month.
August is so hard for a rookie.
It is.
Your first, you never forget your first August.
No. And so I remember getting to August, and our leader did a really good job of helping us see what August should be, which statistically, it should be your best month. You've sold the most, your skill set's the best.
You know the rhythms, you know the routines,
Exactly.
You know what to expect, you know the objections, you know the doors.
Yep. But that didn't happen. Not even close. So had a really slow August. I had already committed to come back at that point. The end of July, they'd asked me to come back the following year to be a leader. And so I kind of did get complacent. I was all right, well, I'm doing this again next year. Wanted to get home. I was in school still that semester. And so August was slow. Finished out slow, but committed to keep doing it.
Yeah. So you're kind of in long term. So I'm curious, that there's always a light bulb moment for someone who's a divisional or regional where you just see the job so much bigger than what it is, right? When you first get into the job, it's okay, if I can go make 40 grand a summer, that's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
Right. But then there's this moment of oh, this is a long-term play.
Yeah.
And this is a people business and a recruiting business and and so what was that moment for you when you were okay, not only am I in next year, but I'm actually in for 5 years. I'm actually see the vision, right? What was it for you that made that light bulb turn on?
I think there was a couple different things and a couple different times. One of them was so the guy that recruited me, Braden, the guy that he reported to, Hayden, he was a VP at the time. And I remember seeing, and just, he was very influential in my life in a lot of different ways.
In what ways?
I think the biggest thing he helped me understand is, number one, is that I can create the reality I want. Anything I want to go achieve, I can do. The second thing is, you talk about like a full person paradigm, like intellectually, spiritually, financially, all of the quadrants. He just crushed it in all of them. Super successful in what I would say in every realm that you could think of. And so I aspired to be like that way. And I remember seeing not the freedom he had, but the income he had, the impact he had. And I was like, dang, that could be cool. I guess I saw like myself doing that. I'd say that was like the first kind of thing that helped me start to build and start to recruit. And then after my third summer, that's when I went out and actually led like a successful team. We had guys coming back. I had Braden, the guy that directly recruited me. He really just helped me see the income potential. And he's like, hey man, like it's realistic to make 7 figures. It's really realistic to make high 6 figures in the position you're in. And he helped me see that could then transition to my real estate portfolio and everything I wanted.
Yeah,
so he did a really good job. Exactly. Did a great job showing me the path. And then I got introduced, funny enough, I saw some of Casey's stuff online. And Casey Baugh, yeah. To see the life he had created from the industry, I was just like, dude, I want that. I was like, you could do that from this. And yeah, so then that like lit the fire again, and I was like, cool, I'm in direct sales, and I'm going to do it until I'm financially free, and probably till after that.
It sounds like you had a very clear vision of what you wanted.
Yeah. I think it's important when you're building, especially.
Yeah, it's really important. So one question I do want to ask you, because I can't believe we're already in February. It's crazy, which means
wild.
We're 60 days out till season starts again.
Yeah, we're ready to rip.
It's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from your perspective, having, more seasoned vet, there's a lot of people that listen to this that might be managing for the first time this year, that might be doing their, kind of, where you were a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. What are the most common mistakes maybe you experience yourself, or that you see first-time managers go through when they're managing for the first time?
That's a good question. Holy cow. I think the biggest one, the first one, is the biggest mistake I made was thinking that like the tactical was the most important. That's the biggest mistake I've made. Because your concern is like, hey, I want to deliver for these guys. I want them to have an experience. I want them to make enough to come back, and I want to help them develop. But the tactics are important. But like if the relationship's not there, the tactic doesn't matter, right? You could be the best salesman in the world, but if you don't have a relationship with your people, they won't have a good enough relationship with you to express concerns, right? There won't be a relationship there for you guys to go and have a good experience together. It'll be pretty transactional. Yeah.
How does one build a more deeper or more intentional, meaningful relationship with their people?
Well, I think I always go back to 7 habits, right? So like to really have success with someone else, you got to have success with yourself. So habits 1, 2, and 3. But really like habit 5, which is seek first to understand, then be understood. The relationship deepening moments I've been a part of, it's been where we both felt like we like understood one another. And there was real coaching that was given because there was real understanding that had taken place. So the actual tactics specifically, I think it's different for everybody, right? I have some guys that I work with that building a relationship looks like this. I have other guys that it looks like this. Like I think it's just custom to everybody. But the principle, I think, is you've got to understand where they're at and then direct them where you want them to go.
Yeah, one thing that's for sure going to happen, right? It seems like you've done a really good job of navigating obstacles and challenges. One thing's for sure going to happen is whoever's listening to this, if you're a first-time manager, a 10th year manager, whatever it may be, you've recruited guys, you're fired up, season's about to start, you're going to go out there and your rookies are going to suck. Yep. They're not going to sell, they're going to be frustrated, they're going to feel like quitting, right? What do you say to a rookie who's committed. It's first year time. He's out in a new market, and he's bagling, right? As a leader, what do you say to that rookie who's on the verge of going home?
What like exactly do I say?
Yeah. What would you say to, Talin, I come to you, hey man, I don't know if this is for me. It's been, first week I've got 0 on the board.
Yeah. I would just ask, what, and that's where hopefully I had done a good job setting expectations with them of what the first couple of weeks looks like. Biggest things I would just ask him like, hey, like, when was the last time you did something brand new? Talk through that. Go out. How long did it take you to figure it out? And then compare it to what we're doing now.
Yeah. I'm glad you said setting clear expectations.
Yeah.
A huge mistake I see, because I work with a lot of new managers, is they just set the most unrealistic expectation. Oh man, you're going to kill it. You're going to crush it.
100K no matter what.
100K no matter what. You're going to crush, right?
You're going to win all the company trips, everything. Yeah.
My career shifted when I started recruiting from the opposite angle. I would say, hey, Talin, I want to be really clear with you. This job is going to make you question your existence as a human being. This will be the hardest thing you've ever done in your whole life.
Yep.
You probably won't make any money your first 2 weeks, and you're going to think about quitting all day, every day, and it's going to push you in ways you didn't even know were possible. Pause, let it sit in. But if you're willing to overcome those trials, to push yourself, to stay in the fight, what could be possible is the life on the other side of your fear that, this is the big thing you want. It could be possible.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life. And you probably won't make any money your first couple of weeks.
Yep.
So now what's the expectation when this person comes out?
They know.
Yeah.
They know it's going to come. And then the cool part is too, Doug, is typically they'll make a little bit of money in week 2, week 1 maybe.
So what happens if they sell their first week?
Bro, they're fired up.
They're fired up. Oh my gosh, I'm ahead of schedule.
My favorite on that topic is, my favorite quote is, all pain is stemmed from mismanaged expectations.
Say that again.
All pain stems from mismanaged expectations.
So good.
So and that comes from Tim Hedrick, who's the owner, the guy like that I report to. He's but it's so true, because it's like that conversation. I hope that me and my leaders, we really shouldn't have to have too many of them if we've set expectations right. Very similar to what you talked about. There's this concept of, you kind of walk them to the ledge, and you let them know what's about to happen, and you make it sound, and you make sure they know all the things that could go wrong. So we have, like, for example, we have a big meeting with our whole office, and we go through everything that could potentially go wrong. Similar to what you talked about. You're going to question if it's worth it. There's probably going to be some time there in the beginning where like finances are tight. You're like, okay, crap. You're going to potentially get cops called, right? Like, we go through it all. Dude, you're going to chafe. You're going to sweat through every shirt you've ever had. Like, we just hit everything.
Tech's going to screw up a job. Tech's not going to show up. Right.
Like, yeah, you're going to have an office issue that's out of your control. You're going to call me, your manager, and I'm not going to be able to get to you in time to answer your question. Like, there's going to be a time where you hate us too. So just set those like really clear expectations. So then when those problems happen, just be like, hey, like, dude, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But do you remember that meeting we had? Dude, this is supposed to happen, dude. Let's go crush it together.
Dude, this is so good. So anyone who's listening, who's managing a team for the first time, or even if you've managed for a while, have this meeting.
Absolutely.
I've heard this before too, where someone says, hey, day 1 of summer, we're going to have a meeting of everything that is going to go wrong this year.
Yep.
Right. Tech's going to screw up a job. Police are going to get called on you. They're going to post negative you on the Facebook page. Your iPad's going to stop working, right? Your
parents are going to question if you should keep going.
Parents are telling you to go home. You're going to want to go to like PAL.
Yeah.
The software for our onboarding is going to go down. Credit card reader is not going to read, right? Like, tech's going to mess it up. You're going to get dropped off in the wrong area. You're going to hate your car group driver. Like, all this is going to happen, right? So when it happens, it's like, yeah, we talked about this. Right. And then here's really powerful onto this is you role play of how are you going to respond when this happens?
Exactly.
So set the situation. Talent, your first year, you're going to have negative money in your account. It's going to be 110 degrees. Your iPad's going to stop working. You're going to drop your phone and crack it. And you're going to be super hungry and you're going to want your car group to come pick you up earlier. Right. Okay. How are you going to respond to that situation?
And then you walk through it.
You walk through.
Yep.
Right.
And it's healthy. It's important to go through that because And the interesting thing too is what I've found is helpful. I do this more like one-on-one with my leaders, because then you want to set expectations for them too. So if you have new leaders, they don't know the storm that's coming, right? Because if you led correctly, you probably didn't let them in on much of what actually happens. And so having that same meeting with your leaders, I think, is important. Depending on your leadership group size, you can do it one-on-one or you can do it as a group.
And what does that look like? What are some things leaders should be looking out for?
I think the biggest thing that I've found is you need to be just absolutely aggressive with your inputs, but you have to be patient with the outputs, because you're going to have reps that figure it out quicker than others. But if you stay just aggressive with your inputs, with your KPIs, if you let the numbers tell you what to do and how to train.
What are those inputs you're aggressive with specifically?
So it would be time, like trained off the doors. So how much time are you spending with your reps training before and after? It'd be doors, like how many doors are your reps hitting? How many times are they presenting price? How many loops are they going in each presentation? And then how many are they closing? And just making sure that the reps, that you yourself and then your reps are just focused on the inputs. Just keep hacking at the tree. It's going to come down eventually.
Now, one thing I learned from Zach Anderson, he taught this really, really well, is the power of keeping your inputs. Is because if you track your numbers, right, especially in the beginning of the year, you can get to a point where it's like, oh, I know that if I knock 10 doors, I'll sell one. Yep. And what that does eliminates the fear. We wake up in the morning like, where's my deal going to come from today?
So yeah, just got to hit 10 doors.
I just got to knock 10 doors. Yep. My deal will come, right? And so the power of tracking these KPIs is so not only powerful just to have the data, but it eliminates the subconscious fear of like the uncertainty. No, it's just, I just know 10 doors, right? So when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to panic and stress and fear. And what if I don't sell? Oh, I just got to knock 10 doors. I can knock 10 doors. Yep. Exactly. Whether it's 110 degrees or it's pouring rain, I can knock 10 doors.
Just got to get 10 doors.
I can knock.
Someone will say yes.
Yeah.
We'll collect a credit card eventually.
We'll get some credit card info here.
Yep.
Well, Talin, this is such great wisdom. So what is the next kind of hurdle for you, right? Now you've grown really well. You've built teams, regions. You've been a great sales trainer, right? What's kind of the next mountain for you?
I think the biggest mountain is helping the people that report directly to me, so my leaders, helping and inspiring them to be able to see the vision and path that the job can basically give them. So what my leaders did really well is they understood what it was that I was after, and they helped me really clearly see there's a plan and a path in place. So I think the next hurdle for me is helping my leaders see the same. And then obviously then they'll do that for their leaders, and then we'll grow more. But I think just inspiring, really, like that's the biggest hurdle is inspiring and giving guys the tools to go do like what I've been really, really blessed to do. Like one of my reps is closing on a house this week. It's just like, I'm like, dude, this is like the good stuff, right? It's like, and it's just so cool. It's like, I've been a part of his journey and helped him in different ways. And it's just like, dude, that's like, for me, that's like way more motivating than when I get into another deal. Like I'd prefer to see that 10 times over, another purchase for myself. So to answer your question, really the next hurdle for me is helping guys catch the same vision that I've caught of the industry. Because, dude, it's like, I think the industry is the coolest thing out there. Like, I think it's the modern day gold rush. Like, I talk about it all the time. It's a golden ticket opportunity, and it's just waiting for people to really just lean into it. Because I think there's so many people to recruit, so many markets to go to, so many products to sell. It's just like the industry is just waiting for people to step into those roles.
Yeah, I think there's never been a better opportunity to be in door-to-door, right? And I always say this, door-to-door is not going away.
No.
Right? It's only going to get more lucrative. It's only going to be more beneficial. And I think, to your point, the skill set of face-to-face communication is going to become more and more rare with AI and technology. And that those who actually harness that skill set are going to be able to separate themselves in the future, because, most people in the world today aren't learning these skill sets because they're stuck behind screens. In Alchemy Elite, we just talk about like changing our relationship with our phones. That's a kind of a big thing for me right now is I've really put away social media, right? You're probably going to see this clip on Instagram, but I have a team that posts it.
You didn't post it.
I didn't post it, One thing that's really hot for me right now is I check my socials, but I don't scroll. Yeah. So I log in, I don't have any social media on my phone, I have it on an iPad. I'll log in, I'll check my DMs, and I'll check and see if there's any comments. Because I get business from DMs. And then
that's how we got connected, right?
I think it is.
Yeah,
right?
Dude, social works.
Yeah, and so I'll check my DMs and messages, but I don't sit there and scroll anymore. Yeah. because it really affects my presence and my consciousness, and it doesn't make me feel good, right? And so I think that this skill set of sales is so much bigger than sales, right? It's human connection, it's human interaction, it's problem solving, it's engaging, it's inspiring others. And I think just the way that, maybe I'll put my tinfoil hat on, but I just think just with AI, I think big picture, I think AI will be the best invention of the human race. Yeah. In the short term, I think it's going to be really painful and used in wrong ways and be manipulative, and it's going to hurt a lot of people, and it's going to affect our quality of our lives for sure in a negative way. That's why I'm I'm being really conscientious of taking a space. But, so again, I'm a big believer, check, don't scroll. Check your socials, don't scroll.
I love it. Because a lot of guys, especially, well, for you, it's literally how we got connected. It's how
was it a DM?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you DM'd me.
Because I had seen you'd been on a couple podcasts and you'd been referenced by other guys that I followed, and I was like, dude, I got to see what this guy's about. It was your ads, dude. It was straight up your ads. It was specifically, I can't remember the exact verbiage, but the concept was, hey, you don't have like a sales problem.
You have a personal problem.
You have a personal problem affecting your sales. And I remember I was like, bro, this is like, because I remember I'd get to a point where I'm like, dude, I know the tactics. Like, I know what to say.
The words.
I'm like, bro, why am I not performing how I want?
I don't intend this to be a shameless plug, but maybe I'll do a shameless plug here. For those listening, there's a lot of people who listen to my podcast who think about coaching with me. I know that, but they haven't pulled the trigger. So we've worked one-on-one. We've had some really powerful conversations. We've had some really powerful shifts.
Powerful. Yeah.
What has been your experience on, with my coaching?
I think the biggest thing, there are two things. Number one was understanding that your success is on the other side of increasing your inner capacity. Right. And because you view every individual and like for me in my development, my inner capacity to handle was low. So the second that gets stretched, anxiety, fear, all of these things are the byproduct of it. But as you go through, there's tons of different things you can do. The first is just becoming aware of it, right? Becoming aware of your internal capacity to do. And you do it by doing more, but while also keeping your state just at a steady 6. So the biggest thing that you helped me with is understanding like, dude, you can handle this, right? That was the biggest thing and also this is a plug for first year managers or managers that are going to go manage bigger than they ever have. You will have multiple times where you're like, am I going to make money this year? Like, especially because then when you manage and you have reps, you have costs that are associated with that. You've got housing. So you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, am I going to make any money? And the important mind frame to get into is, dude, you can handle it. Like no matter what, everybody goes home, you can handle it. You'll be fine.
That's what obviously the title of my new book, I Can Handle This, is just coming out in a couple of months here. And it's exactly what you say. Like it's increasing your willingness to handle discomfort. And as amazing as that is on a mental health level, right? Just calms your nerves. A byproduct of that is if you can move through life with a really high capacity to handle discomfort, what will naturally happen to your sales performance?
Just skyrocket.
Yeah. No, because it's really clear that where you are in this will be the best financial year of your life. And so there's a very clean ROI of being a part of, the Alchemy program and working with me is because will we talk about sales stuff? Sure. We can help you
here and
there, you know, but more importantly, it's can you become the type of person that regardless of how life unfolds, you can handle it. Yep. And if you can, natural byproduct of that is going to be more meaningful relationships, better health, better income, more sales, more recruits.
And I feel like it's caused me to just like quality of life and enjoyment has just increased. Because when you're managing, it's a full-time job. During the summer, you've got guys, you're going to go really hit it. But then in the off months, you're building, right? You're training, you're having the crucial conversations to help guys level up. And there's just a lot of moving pieces. And then if you add, maybe there's some investments you're doing, those could go wrong. Right? Then you have personal relationships, stuff could go wrong there. So just as I've grown, there's just a lot more on my plate, but I'm thankful because regardless, dude, I can handle it. Like if everything goes to crap, like I can handle it. And I think in years past, I didn't have that mindset. And I think that's what held me back from achieving the things I wanted. So yeah, that'd be my shit.
Well, thanks, brother. I'll use that as a testimonial. Maybe your face will be on the next ads we run.
It works. it works and the ads worked. So yeah.
Brother, it's honestly been an honor working with you, and I'm so excited for your future and whatnot.
It's been fun.
One thing I did want to touch on is, and I love hearing, this is maybe like more personal, selfish, it's not selfish, but I love hearing other people talk about people who have influenced them in their life, like true mentors that have influenced them and what they learned from them. So as you look back at, even if you were a kid, your childhood, whatever, who's someone that you can pinpoint and be like, man, this person stepped up. They showed up for me. They supported me. They helped me. And what did you learn from that mentor?
Can I give 3?
Give 3.
Is that right?
I want to hear all 3.
The first one, like, you're probably going to be like, dude, you're redundant. But the first one's my dad. Yeah, it's my dad for sure. It's just funny. He, like, the cool thing about a dad is it doesn't matter if you make good decisions or bad. He's still your dad, right? And like, if you have success or don't, he's still your dad. So the biggest thing, once again, that I talk about, so my first mentor where like he's shown up is he's always shown up, if that makes sense.
He's just been there.
He's been there, and he just has done the right things. Like, I've watched from my dad how to treat women. My dad never raised his voice at my mom in front of us. I watched discipline. My dad woke up early every morning, hit the gym. I watched not quitting at things. I watched him like pursue a career where he wanted to work up the corporate ladder in the teaching world, but he was met with resistance, but he didn't quit. So like all of these lessons, I watched him honor his priesthood. I watched him, he took me out on home teaching visits back when that was a thing. And we'd go out on a Sunday afternoon at 4 and visit a family that didn't want us there, but we just did it because it was the right thing to do. So yeah, like I've thought about this a lot, especially like the last month, because I think there's certain things that just come natural to me, but it's because I just grew up watching a man just do the right thing. So that'd be my first. So yeah, if Dad's
Beautiful.
Watching this,
shout out.
Thanks,
Papa
Dad.
Mortensen.
Blake, he's a stud.
Blake, shout out Blake.
I would put him toe to toe with anybody his age for his fitness level.
Wow.
Great shape. Once again, from his disciplines.
Yeah.
Right?
Standards
and disciplines.
Yeah.
Next one. Okay, I'm going to do 4. Not going to lie.
Bring him on.
Next one is Coach. His name is Coach Thompson. So in high school, he saw, I guess he saw an ability in me to perform that he brought out. And he brought out just through belief and constant belief, it was funny because he wasn't even a throwing coach. He was a distance guy, but he went out of his way to learn the throws to help me. So that meant the world. He also had connections with BYU that ended up helping me get recruited. So like in that phase specifically, I would say that he was like the best coach / cheerleader that like a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid would need. That was number 2. It was just awesome. And then I'd say the next would be Hayden Sharp. I was recruited by Braden, who he was recruited by Hayden. And the biggest thing that I would say Hayden did is there was a time after I was selling okay, but recruiting didn't come natural for me. I had a lot of insecurities, a lot of fears, a lot of doubts if I could do it. So when you have those, you don't really go do the recruiting work very intensely.
Yeah, you avoid that because it causes pain, right?
Totally.
It reinforces those beliefs.
Exactly. So I was having a really hard time recruiting. Just nothing was tracking. Nothing was, I kind of thought, I wrote it off. I didn't think it was for me. I was about to go do real estate actually. And I remember we had a meeting one night. It was like 2.5 hours. And he just understood where I was at. And I think, and then he casted a vision for what things could look like. Kind of financially, but more just like who I would become on the other side of all this. And like, I'll never forget that meeting. I could text him right now and he would remember. He's like, yep, it was the meeting in gratitude. We have like the rooms are labeled. It was the gratitude room. We were there till like 11:30. His wife was texting him, where are you at? He's like, I'm with Talin, don't worry.
Just painting a life vision for Talin here. Don't worry about it.
And just casting a vision that's so much bigger than he had, and a belief that he couldn't even fathom in himself. And he just did it in that meeting. But then he followed up really well with that and was a person that I was willing to be influenced by at the time. The next one is kind of 2. It's Tim Hedrick and Braden Connor. Tim's one of the owners, and then Braden's my direct. And both of them have just reinforced so many principles of success, right? You reap, like the law of the harvest, you reap what you sow. They talk often about like that the skill set you want to develop is on the other side of just doing more. And they just do such a good job of letting me know of the kind of what you'd call like the road bumps. They warn me of those. They redirect me from those. And Braden's a lot in like the day-to-day. So I'm on the phone with him all the time. So it's like every little thing he teaches me throughout the day, how to have this conversation, how to handle this, how to grow this, how to do this. So I'd say those were those two.
Yeah, I mean, and it reinforces why it's so important to have a coach or a mentor in your life.
Always.
And I know I'm a coach, right? And I help a lot of people, but I also have coaches myself. I have multiple coaches I work with.
Yeah.
And they just show you the speed bumps before you get there. So they don't derail you, right? And it's, I look back at my life and the most influential people are, the coaches who helped me. I go back to even 2017 for me was a really hard year. It's really disorienting. I was in a really dark place and I had a coach named Kristen Olmar. She wrote a book called The Art of Fear. And she was kind of the first one who was just like, hey, you're okay. You're going to be okay. I got you. I'm like, really? I'm going to be okay? She's like, yeah, cool. This is what's happening. We've got to address some of these subconscious stuff, the personal problems.
The stories, man.
The stories. You got to address some of these things. And she really helped me navigate. They changed my life.
Yeah.
Not only changed, but saved my life. And, you look back at these people, between your dad and your mentors and your business partners, it reminds me of, and I think it's a Stephen Covey quote, but maybe I'm not. It might be Peter Drucker. But he says, a leader will save more lives than a surgeon.
Yeah, it's Drucker.
Yeah, Drucker, right? It's Peter Drucker, right? A leader will save more lives than a surgeon.
Yeah.
And your role as a leader is you're not just helping someone learn the art of sales so they can make money. Yeah. You're providing them life skills and insights and standards and clarity to what happened exactly with you is to help someone evolve into their truest, highest, best version of themselves. And I think at our core as human beings, we all have the same desire is I want to be the most fully expressed, highest version of myself. That's what we all want. And as a leader, you have the opportunity to show someone the way, to show them the map, to show them what to look out for, to help them with the tactics in the short term, but more importantly, paint the vision of like, hey, that's why you're sitting in this chair is someone came to you and said, Talin, you're at point A, I can help you get to point B. And at point B, you're going to be a more fuller version of yourself. And you're like, I'm in.
I've thought about this a lot recently, but Tony Robbins talks a lot about how business is a spiritual game. And I would agree. And I think leadership is just such a spiritual pursuit because I just can't think of anything. I just can't think of anything more meaningful to someone than taking time, giving them energy, resources to say, hey, like I want you to be better in every way. And I'm willing to go to bat for you and I'm willing to show you the way, but I'm here for you. And I just think that's so, like, I think if that's not a spiritual pursuit, I just don't know what is.
It's a noble cause. I mean, it's just beautiful. And so that's why I haven't knocked doors in a long time, but that's why I've always kind of stayed close to the industry.
Yeah.
Is because still being able to have influence to help other people step into these versions of themselves. And I can share what I can about sales and leadership, and I did it at a high level.
Super high level, man.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, that's what it is for me. It's like, working with people like you, it's so fulfilling. When we first started working together a year ago, now it's been a year, and to see the personal growth within you and the stories we've adjusted and changed and watch you, stepping into 2026 when you're absolutely going to tattoo this year.
I'm excited.
You're going to tattoo this year.
It's going to be big.
And it's just really inspiring to me to feel like I've played a little bit, even if it's a small role in it, it's really fulfilling for me. And so I'm curious, on your perspective for those listening, what's getting you fired up for 26? Like, what are you juiced on right now?
I think the biggest thing I'm juiced on is I genuinely, like, I know people will say this, I work with just amazing people. And the reason I say they're amazing is because they all just go get after it. They all do the stuff. And like, for example, I was on a call on the way here and a kid was like, hey dude, I just held this interview, XYZ happened and it didn't go great, but he just like is in the arena, just like doing it. Right. And like we were working tables at UVU yesterday, right? Half of us don't even know what we're doing necessarily, but they're just out there just like shooting. They're just getting shots on goal. And I'm just like, dude, I will work and help you guys till the ends of the earth if you keep just like showing up and trying. So I think the first thing that just gets me fired up is there's so many guys that are just like this close to just like blowing up, financially, spiritually, career-wise, just like they're just around the cusp of just growing and just like skyrocketing. That's the first thing that gets me juiced. Second thing that gets me juiced is I think that the second thing that gets me juiced is spiritually, I'm just back in a good spot.
Say more about that.
I think there was a time there where I was really focused. I love work. Like the guys that work with me know, you probably know that too from our conversations, but I love work. And I think I allowed that to be the primary focus for a period of time. And when that's your primary focus, with all the distractions in the world, you make decisions that aren't the best. And so I feel like I went through that phase, and I feel like I'm kind of back to grounded to where my faith and covenants I've made in the temple are my top priority. And it feels so much better when you're trying to go crush it, but that's the main priority.
I mean, it feels so much better with whatever you believe in when you're in alignment with your beliefs.
100%.
Right. I'm really big on alignment. When we are misaligned, just the wheels are going to start shaking and we're going to make poor decisions, right? So whatever your spiritual beliefs are, and for you, I know you have a really beautiful testimony of the gospel of the Latter-day Saint faith. When you are in alignment with that, I know that's when you're going to perform your best because you are in integrity with God.
Yep.
And you're what you believe God is. And that's just naturally a byproduct of that is just going to be aligned action, right? So you're going to be in more integrity with your reps. You're going to be working harder. You're going to be, and more importantly, from my perspective, you're going to feel more energized. You're going to feel the light, the energy, whether it's from God or we're going to call it, it's just going to be beaming through you. And when you connect yourself to that energy, you're unstoppable. But if you're at misalignment, you can't lie to your body. You can't
lie to your
consciousness.
Your consciousness, what you know is true. You can't hide from it.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the second thing I'm juiced about. I just feel like a really good, healthy connection. I feel like that's the priority again, which just fires me up. And then the third thing, I'm excited this year. I have an investment goal that is bigger than what my old income goals used to be.
Yeah, it's a really exciting goal. When you first shared that with me, I was so fired up for you. I'm
excited to go do it. It's just like we're a third of the way there already, and we're not even at Valentine's Day. And yeah, I'm just excited to go hit that. I think I don't know if I don't think I can see the fruits that's going to bring in the future, and that's what excites me. Because I'm willing to sacrifice some of the financial luxuries right now, and I'm willing to put money aside. Because I'm just excited for what that could look like in the future.
It's that quote from Warren Buffett where he says, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Yep. I'm trying to lean into that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Time is on your side.
Yep.
Well, Talin, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I've loved working with you the last year. Yeah. I'm so excited for your growth. I've seen so much change in you. I know for sure that the best of your work is yet to come.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome.